Hi, everyone. Welcome to our new online emergency geography classroom. It looks like, well, first of all, welcome back. I hope everybody is well and that your family is well too. Um, Looks like we're going to be using this online environment at least to the beginning of May. So my plan is each Monday and Wednesday is I'll be posting and most of the work will be posted on the Monday. Wednesday's more of a check-in, but I do expect you to check in at least those 2 days of the week. Um, Activities will typically be due on the weekend. What is it that we're doing this week? So we are starting this new unit, natural resources, and I've got a short sort of summary lesson with some terms that I'd like you to become familiar with. So if you take a look at the lesson that I've posted, it talks about the difference between renewable and non-renewable resources and this really key concept of sustainable development. Basically, proceeding forward, we need to stop using resources thinking that they're unlimited. We need to be far more careful with the use of them. And so we've got this term meeting the needs of today without compromising the needs of tomorrow. So, for instance, if you are using trees, it's great, but make sure you replant so that the next generation also has access to forestry products. Because we're also talking about industry in this unit, I want you to be familiar with the different types of industry that we have. For instance, primary industry surrounds us here in Niagara as we see a very large, rich agricultural area. Those are the industries that are extracting a resource. Whereas E.D. Smith in Winona that cans that material is making a final product out of that raw resource, so they would be considered a secondary industry. And then finally, tertiary industry would be the grocery store that's selling that jam product. Quaternary industries are more about information technology. I've got a little video in here that I'd like you to watch. What happens when a country no longer has the resources that it needs? And skip through the beginning part of this video. It's not really relevant. Once you get to about the 4 minute and 35-second mark, it gets into stuff that's pertinent to what I want to talk about, which is the people in Greenland that colonized the area had things change on them, and they could no longer import and export goods, and it had quite the catastrophic effect on their society. But they were from an area that was very limited in resources in the first place. Which brings me to, hey, we're in this interesting situation right now where trade is becoming a little bit more limited. We still have trade, but you may have seen in the news that there are some products that we're having a hard time getting our hands on. So I'd like you to just think about what sort of resources we have and products that we have, and what sort of resources we wouldn't have access to if we couldn't trade with other countries. So, for instance, I think of the cell phone. All the products that go into making that cell phone, the steel and the nickel and all that sort of stuff, we make that in Canada. But the actual phone, the only phone company that's actually Canadian is BlackBerry. So we wouldn't have iPhones anymore. We'd all have BlackBerries. So we're going to have this discussion group that's on the website. I'll post a link right in the news section here or the announcement section, but you can also click on discussions and you'll see it down here. How would life be different if Canada couldn't trade anymore? So the way the discussion works is you can't see what anyone else posts until you post your own ideas first. So this is great because I always got frustrated that um, when I went on to post something on an online classroom, all the ideas were already sort of taken. So that will not happen because you can't see what other people have posted. So if you do overlap with others, that's fine. I'd also like you to take a look at what other people have posted and throw your 2 cents in on their ideas. Try to be positive, don't be negative. And so I'd like you to do that early in the week. The second thing that I have, or sorry, the third thing that I have set up for you is this activity on looking at ecological footprints. So this gives us an idea of how much resources you are using. So An ecological footprint is the amount of land required to meet all your needs and wastes. I've got a little video here for you to watch when it comes to understanding that concept. And then I've got this website that you're going to go to and go through answering a series of questions, and it'll determine how much land, if you were put on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and how big would that island have to be to have all the resources that you needed, plus space to get rid of all your garbage. And the bigger that island, obviously, the greater the demand for resources you have. Once you're finished, you're going to get to this screen. I don't want you to take a screenshot of this screen. If you've got a big computer like mine, you can use the snip tool by just typing in snip down there and then taking a screenshot. But this, I don't want this. I don't want that one. All right. That one's sort of a useless screen. I want you to click on the see details. And now you're going to be able to see how big your actual ecological footprint is and the different categories. You can see, oh boy, it looks like food is the one that's my biggest issue. It's consuming the most amount of my resources. So just going to quickly go through this. Whenever you get the opportunity to add more details, click on that so that you can really fine tune your answer so that it's appropriate to you, and then use this little advance button here to get to the next screen. All right, now, if you don't know how fuel efficient your car is, there's a question about it. Basically, down here, there's a website that helps you calculate the fuel efficiency of your car. When it comes to the number of square feet that your house is, I would say that an apartment or a small home, townhome, would be about 1,000 square feet or less. A sort of medium-sized home is about 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. If you've got a full two-story house with a fairly large lot, you're looking more at about greater than 1,200 square feet, or greater than 120 meters squared. So go through, put the screenshot in here. That's really critical because you're going to need that for later on. And then I've got a series of questions I want you to answer from either looking on the internet or going back. This question here asks you to go back and look at your results. And then I mentioned there are 5 categories. Don't worry about the service category. I don't like that category. A lot of ecological footprint calculators don't use it. But food and the other categories, I would like you to put the category in here and then suggest at least 2 ways that you can reduce the amount of resources required for that category. So I've given an example here for my food category. If I just bought, from down the road instead of, grapes imported from Chile instead of from down the street, I would reduce my ecological footprint because there'll be a lot less fuel and resources being used to ship it here. So, all the best to you. I also understand that this is a really challenging time for a lot of people. I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he works at a different school, and he was having a hard time trying to find out whether the student had a computer or not. There's my son in my background there. After talking to the student, it turned out that he's the only person in his family that's working because, unfortunately, both of his parents can't work during these times. So if you are having challenging times, please reach out to me, send me an email, and I will try to be as accommodating as possible and help you out in any way that I can. All right. So I hope all is well. And if you do have any questions, feel free to email me, andrew.white@dsbn.org. During the daytime, I'm sitting there waiting for your email. So all the best. We'll talk to you soon.